Say hi to the Instagram people.
Uh-huh.
Hi, Instagram people, if you can hear me. Hey, everyone. Namaste. Deb
Fixing
Sheppard
Insta.
on live with all these fun platforms. Behind the camera and the scenes is both Elizabeth and Dana.
Hola.
Hola. You know Dana. She's been on the podcast. If you haven't heard the podcast, then shame on you. No. It's called Spirited Straight Talk. Follow us. But
You're
we want
not
to
about
welcome.
guilt.
Yeah, never. But I want to welcome everybody. If this is your first time, thank you so much. We'll tell you how this works. For those that are the consistent followers, we love you so much. We want to do some shout outs. The podcast that's going to be released, is it this week, Dana?
Yes.
Okay, so we want to talk about connecting with your guides. And this is a big question. And Dana always laughs. I'm like, this is a big one. This is a big one. But this is, someone always says to me, like, do I have guides? I can't hear my guides. What are my guides like? Are they family members? It's always
Are
a big
there
question.
guides?
Are there guides?
What are their names?
What are their names? Yes. So this is an ongoing question. So this podcast can answer some great questions that people go into sometimes that maybe more deeper than I am. I don't know the questions, but it's really, I like to keep things simple. So it's a good way to start connecting to a guide, understanding who your guides are. Again, what my belief system is may be different than yours, but I always say integrate all those different things that can work
Ask
for you.
questions about this topic because Deb will answer all your questions about connecting with guides.
So we love, 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 love when you ask questions that the whole gang here can benefit from. So if it's a question about guides or what I do or the afterlife, those are
how
just
to connect.
Yeah, these are just the questions we always welcome because it does help educate the entire group that gets a benefit from being on. So any shout outs do we have here, Dana? Or
Yep.
We're still
so
new.
And we'll talk about the topic more in a minute, but shout
Absolutely.
outs.
Unless you have questions along the way. I have my
Um,
little book in front of me that I take my notes and I write. It's with the pink pen. It's my heart.
Lots of people jumping on from YouTube. So
Yeah.
we're saying hi to Christy Wilson, Kat Reyes on YouTube. Lisa down in Texas says hi.
Hi, Lisa.
Misty
Lisa's a
Miller,
student
Topeka,
that we
Kansas.
love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jennifer says, good morning, Deb, Elizabeth, and Dana. The whole list. We got us all.
Woo!
Georgia on YouTube. We've got Katie on Instagram, Joe Parker on Instagram, Melanie on Instagram.
Yay.
OJG girl. What does that stand for? OJG. But hello over there. We've got lots of people joining, so welcome everybody.
Well, OJ reminds me.
Denver Diver Diva? Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi on
Hi.
Instagram.
Dane and I, our initials for our grandkids, or our children, let's say, our children instead, is OMA, which is original mother and other mother. So they call us OMs. Everyone thought that was cute.
Yeah.
Om. I'm speaking another language. Obviously, someone's coming through.
And then I became Mamo.
Mama with the grandkids, yes. So I felt dogs around today, and these were not our living dogs. But I'm going to be curious if anyone asks to communicate with their fur babies today.
Uh-huh.
So let's see if that shows up as well. But again, connecting with your guides, in my belief system, I do not believe that our loved ones are our guides. Not that they can't be there, tap us on the shoulder, remind us of things. But I always joke that I really want someone that is more evolved than one of my family members.
Why, Deb? Why?
Let me just tell you. Different energy, different belief system. No. But I do believe that we bring in ancient ones that work with us and help us. They don't give us the answers. They help guide us and put things in front of us so we can make a choice, rather what way we want to go, or opportunities that maybe we weren't looking at. And it's that little whisper in the ear. It could be a song you turn on, an advertisement, you read an article, someone says something. These days, you mention it, it pops up on your feed. Pay attention to these things. But it's realizing that your guides are not going to usually be screaming at you. It's going to be very subtle. It'll sound like your voice, but it feels different, and there's a lot of clarity. And sometimes you'll feel it repeatedly where you're like, oh, I need to really pay attention to this. The other part of your brain, the human side, may be discounting it, discouraging it, talk about the fear, how could you do that? And that's basically our lessons in this lifetime. It's the fears that we are here to get through. And so many times we go back and forth because we play both sides versus listening to our guides. And then, of course, the big thing is trust. Trust is the big one when you're working with that invisible world. But like I tell my students, the universe has a language. You have to listen. And it's usually the subtleties that show up. With a medium or psychic, someone like myself as a teacher, I can usually validate a lot of times readings or working with students. They have a question and I will get information from their guides and they go, that's what I was thinking.
Mhm.
So it helps validate what you're getting so that you can build that trust with the other side. And that's the real cool part.
So
trusting.
we've been talking a lot about clairs in one of your classes, the
Mhm.
solution class,
Mhm.
which starts in January again. But in this class, you've been talking with your students about clairs and identifying
Right.
which clair is their strongest one. You have all of yours and you've built this over the last 21 years. But
And I'm
when-
25, so I started at
you're
3.
25. Yeah, you started.
Okay, 27.
So you were so young.
So young.
But we've been talking about clairs a lot. So do your guides work through your clairs as well?
Absolutely. So when clairs are just basically all your energy centers that you feel. So you hear, see, taste, smell, the third eye is the seeing. And a lot of people are empaths. They feel things so intensely. And that's a clair or an energy that you get information. You're a sponge. You soak up stuff. You don't know if it's your stuff or their stuff. So over time, I've developed all of these clairs and use them depending on who I'm reading for, who the loved one that's coming through or the guides. So if you're very left brain, I really have to shift gears and allow those guides to come through and give me information that speaks to your language when it's that left brain. And I had several of those yesterday during sessions. I was just like, okay.
Fun for you because you're not
I'm not left brain at all. So I had
to
to kind of shift gears and go, okay, wait a minute, let's pull this back. Let's redo this and step into it and lean into it because my left brain is a little bit, the muscles are not as strong. It doesn't do as many
You don't
workouts.
like numbers.
So when I go to that left brain, I have to pause, think, and then be able to communicate those things. And their guides come through or their loved ones giving me information that will help with the person, the individual too.
That is really cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
That actually is cool.
And they'll say things like, oh yeah, I was just thinking that, or yeah, that's, I'm like, okay, that doesn't make any sense to me, but it's for you.
Here's what it is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I can, for COVID, I start coughing. That's my sign for COVID because when other signs of not being able to breathe, could be pneumonia, it could be suffocation, it could be so many other things, asthma. So COVID comes in as a cough where I'm hacking out a lung.
Mhm.
But again, I continue to add new skills or new information.
Symbols,
Yeah. The other day I was
Psychic charades.
Yeah, we were doing a small group the other day, and I keep getting hits on this. Actually, I want to reach out to that group because I have a couple hits. I kept seeing on one client, her father kept showing me a dream catcher, and she goes, well, I'm not really sure that I've been studying kind of this stuff. I'm like, no, this is making sense. Well, later on, it came through because she started talking about following her dreams, and that was a new symbol. So you're basically taking the sign language and symbols and things like that, and you blend them together to understand the language. Just like when you're driving, when you see a road sign, you're interpreting it by maybe arrows and things like that versus it being written out. Up ahead, da-da-da-da, there's going to be da-da-da. You don't read it, you understand and comprehend the symbol. And that's how this works for me anyway.
So Elizabeth is asking, because lots of people started entering their dogs. So do you want to channel some dogs?
Sure. Or it's some people with their dogs. I don't care. Yeah, I kept getting, and it feels like a recent passing too on this one,
Okay.
but it could be anything.
Okay. So, and a lot of times that will come through along with a reading as a validation. But sometimes you have people that only want to talk to their animals.
I've had people pay for an entire session, and I said, well, I got your dog here and I'm getting the reading. 40 minutes plus in the reading, and I go, okay, your other loved ones are coming to go, oh, I know they're fine. I just wanted to hear from my fur baby. I'm like, okay. Or they're surprised you come through. One of the sessions yesterday, I was getting a cat, and they go, no, just dogs. I said, I'm getting a cat, and you know me, I will not back off if I get something.
Yeah.
And finally, the client goes, okay, yeah, years ago, da da da, and I go, okay, so you did have a couple cats. They go, yeah. I go, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But people expect to be the priority of what they're closer to, and I'm like, that's, especially you left brain people, we're going to get things like that because it's very left brain.
Good thing I'm very central. I think I use both sides of my
You
brain
do.
equally.
Okay,
kinda
I'm not
weird like
balanced.
that.
Okay,
Hey, you know what? You have to
it
use
works
your
for me.
creative
Yeah.
brain more because
Yeah.
of what you do. So lots of people saying hi, and there was one comment I wanted to read because this struck me. But before I read this comment, Deb's going to do readings in a moment on all platforms. We'll pick a few people from each platform, and she'll do some readings. What she needs is the first name of your loved one and how they're connected. So my grandmother, Doris, my mom, Mary, whatever the case is. And if it is a child, she wants your child's age. So first name,
Just for this.
how they're connected, and the age if it's that children's generation. So niece, nephew, child, grandchild. Yesterday you did a reading and you told me a little bit about this story about somebody not recognizing their grandchild, and that's who they actually came to visit
Yeah,
or to hear
with.
from. And you said there's a young male, and finally you said, like,
who is this or something? Forgot. But you know, part of it, people are nervous. I understand.
yeah,
And there's a lot of anxiety about doing that. And so for me, if
that
I'm
was
getting,
a left brain person.
yeah, and again, it's getting that flow and what comes through versus what we expect to come through, and that's the real balance of everything too.
Yeah.
But you said there was a statement too about something.
Yes, I wanted to read this because, you know, one of the reasons why I shared my story, why I even went to that, because that's a very dark place, and I've gotten some responses from people that they just have a hard time listening to it. I got another response yesterday, like, I can't.
This was a podcast that we released the second time. That was last week.
Our top 3, yeah.
It was our top 3.
And the only reason is to help people, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only reason we.
That's why I asked you to
share
do
that. Yep. So somebody just shared this, that we helped her in a different way. I say we instead of you because, let me go back. I'm trying to find it. So many comments come through sometimes, but she shared that she felt better about going on a spiritual journey and knowing that it was okay to go on a spiritual journey while still being gay.
Oh.
And that she wasn't, that it's okay still to be on that spiritual path, even though you're not in a society norm. And I find that very interesting because I don't think twice about it. And I don't put a label to myself, and I think you don't either. We just fell in love with each other, right?
We're just awesome.
Which, yeah, we're just, but in a lot of cultures, it's a bad thing, and then in other cultures,
it's a powerful thing. Yeah, absolutely.
So I just want to say, shout out, happy,
yeah.
Us being honest and true to who we are is helping you.
You know, doing this work for, like you said, over 2 decades, there are so many varieties of individuals that have come through, and some people talk on a spiritual path. You know, what's the other side? I've had Ted Bundy come through in a reading and admit to murdering a client's friend.
Yes.
And they thought so, but they weren't sure. And I've had a lot of work that I've done with detectives of, you know, these terrible people. So when you think about just falling in love with someone with the same sex, you know, there are so many different layers to it and how society feels about it, but we're not here to make society happy. We're here to follow our own journey, our own path, and have the courage to come out of the closet, whatever direction that is.
Sometimes spirituality is a coming out of the closet.
It is. Like people having a hard time saying that they went to a psychic or a medium or they're taking these classes, and I just crack up because we act like we're going to be burnt at the stake or something, you know, that old pattern.
Uh-huh.
But that's not the truth.
Right.
I'll just tell you. That's just not the truth.
I have a question for you from Darsuzi Saunders.
Okay.
I posted a post about my son, Anthony. Let me just read this. My son, and the lights flickering when I felt him. I got a lot of negative response I was not allowing him to cross over by keeping him here. Is this true? One person who said this was a ghost follower.
Okay. BS.
Get on your soapbox, Deb Sheppard.
This is where I have an issue with. How can you hold somebody back in the spirit realm? I mean, for goodness sakes, we can't control someone in a physical form. And you really think that someone in a, that's just a soul and energy that's flickering the lights, you can hold back? You're not telling him to flicker the lights.
He wants you to know
he wants you to know he's there. He's telling you, Mom, I'm so sorry that I'm not with you physically, but here I am with you in the spirit. All of that stuff that people, I mean, this is just go. You can tell it really cranks me in a lot of ways. You cannot hold them back. They are not stuck. They are still doing their work. They are wanting to see you. They're not being reincarnated in 44 days. Please, 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 please. What I teach is limiting beliefs. And when people tell you that you're holding somebody back, I just want to laugh. And I think you should, like you have any power at all to hold that energy back. What, because you want to hear from them? And where are they going to go next that it's not with you? Why can't they be in both these realms?
Right.
So, I'll
get
off my soapbox.
Yes. So
yeah, with a capital.
They're with you. They just want you to know that they're still around.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's where I pull up my boxing gloves.
And what do you always say?
Even though they're on the other side, they're always by your side.
Yes.
That's why I say that, is because that I've never had anyone in all these years, or 100,000 sessions or more, that have said, oh, they keep holding me back from going to my next plane ever. So I'm done.
Okay.
Period.
So readings.
Yeah.
Brian Bowles. Hi, Brian Bowles. He said,
Brian.
Preach.
Get on my pulpit. It is.
And one more question for you.
Okay, I love it.
Is being gay in this life related to what gender we were in a former life? And you do past life readings quite often.
Yes, I do past life. Just did a couple yesterday. Absolutely, I think our past lives can bring something to this lifetime. I don't think always, but if you believe in reincarnation and we're here to evolve our own soul, then we're going to have different experiences. And to come into this lifetime and have the balance of yin and yang, or male or female, what a great way to grow and learn and be beyond just one dimension. Mm-hmm. And yes, I do feel that there are sometimes that in past lives, but I also feel like, let's say you were male in so many lifetimes, you came in this lifetime, you go, I want to be a female and understand that, and I'm strong, and so I want to have that male energy so that maybe I can be in the military, or maybe I can be a dominant person in this role, but I have the female energy. Mm-hmm. So many times we take on the earth suit that is physically the opposite of what maybe we've had lifetimes, or where energy is, which is extremely powerful. Mm-hmm. So I love it. Yeah.
Good question. Okay. So talk about how you do readings, Deb. I mean, we shared a little bit, but how you get your information and your psychic charades.
Yeah. So a lot of this is taking information that I get from the other side, and I blend it in hopes of giving you information that gets validation. I just got the Morse code. So like the Morse code and how the Native Americans helped in the war, they had a language they communicated so that others couldn't hear. And then they were able to transfer that information so that people could understand. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm taking all of my senses, all of my clairs, depending on your soul and the soul that's crossed over, that brings me information. So it could be things that I've seen in a movie, readings I've done in the past, my own personal experiences that I see. These are really quick. So I'm getting information and data very quickly. In an hour session, of course, you're going to get a lot more good
You've
stuff.
Been tested and vetted.
Oh, yeah.
60 true statements in a 30-minute time frame.
It cracks me when people still want to, they book me, then they still want to test me. And I'm like, do you want a reading or not? Let's just go with it. Get your information versus prove it to me. I'm not here to prove it. I'm just here to do my job. You figure out the rest.
All right. So Elizabeth has texted me several people to do readings for.
Okay.
And first one on YouTube, Christine Beezer, she wants to connect with her nephew Randy, who was 20 when he passed. And before you start that, Connie Rowley, send an email to Elizabeth@Deb Sheppard real quick. We're going to see if we can bring you on live with Deb. And I put her email address on the screen right now. So Connie Rowley and Lisa Howard, both of you send an email real quick, and we're going to just jump into some readings here.
Who does Connie want to talk to? She does.
Connie is her spouse, Sid.
Okay.
And Lisa is her good friend, Lorraine. And
Okay.
then
Wait a minute. Christine has Randy, and then Connie has
Connie
Sid.
has Randy. Lisa has Lorraine. And
Okay,
then
you just said Christine has Randy.
right. Those two, Connie and Lisa, send an email to Elizabeth@Deb Sheppard.
Okay.
Now, the reading you're going to do right now is Christine, who wants to connect with her nephew Randy,
Right. Okay.
who was 20.
Okay. Right. Hey, Christine.
Let me
So
confuse you. Sorry.
yeah, listening to the other side is much easier than getting direction. It's complicated. Okay, Christine. First of all, sorry about Randy. I'm thinking, and this could be 100% wrong, but I'm going to give it to you. I feel like this is your brother's child, or something about on the male side or father's side. This is something about the male energy he's telling me about. Randy feels to me quick passing for him. I don't feel sick as well, and he's got this huge smile on his face. I'm getting him pumping iron, and to me that would be like someone that's in shape. So that has a meaning for you, or there's a metaphor of body appearance, that maybe he didn't feel good about his appearance, or he felt really good. That was some of the pride. My head definitely is hurting with Randy as well. This could be something that the head injury of his passing, or mental health, or just a lot of stress that was going on. Really random, but do you remember those candies that are on a stick, and they're like the sugar that gets accumulated, and it could be a color of pink or blue? Do you remember those, Dana? Those little sugar sticks?
Yeah.
I don't
Pixie
know.
sticks?
No, it's
Sugar sticks.
It's a stick, and then there's sugar like crystals on it.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I'm seeing that, Christine, but if that makes any sense to you, about it could be the sweetness of life, something you guys did together, or a memory. Candy on a stick, easy life. He does have an animal with him, but it feels like a smaller dog, and this feels like the dog has been gone for a little while. He's also giving you a heart, meaning I'm okay, I'm fine, but I keep getting an older male connection, or he's also has a father figure, or you do, or uncle, but I'm seeing an older male there. I'm also getting the number 18, which could be an 18th of a month, obviously not the 18th, like 12, it's the 18th. Maybe something started happening when he was 18, and that's the difference, or you hadn't seen around that, but he's giving me the 18. That was all over the place. So hopefully it will make some sense that Randy he's giving me thumbs up, okay. I'm also smelling gas, like a car vehicle. So this could represent in a vehicle, worked on vehicles, something around that connection. So
yeah, Christine, share validation on that.
So it's sugar, that candy at Crystal. I'm trying to think what it's called. Maybe
rock candy, maybe?
Rock candy. Thank you. On a stick.
Rock candy.
And it could be that you're his rock star and you're sweet at the same time. I mean, that's the metaphor.
Yeah.
That you were there for him.
Okay. And then we have next on Instagram, Cindy Smith wants to connect with her grandma Lula. And she has a dog named Brinkley.
Okay, and she's not coming on, right?
Nope.
Okay. Grandma feels Lula. I love that name. strong individual. Whether this was really her parents, but I see this short woman with full of vim and vinegar, as my mom used to say. But I feel like she's just this individual that has so much of this energy. There is a feeling of around the time of her death or near the ending, maybe people couldn't be there, or they're feeling some guilt around her passing. So she's like, give it up, which I always get with this too. But she's just like, don't even go there. She's given me the sign of a cross, which usually to me means Catholicism or faith or religion. So this could be her religion, and maybe she wouldn't have done this for, if she was living, but maybe, like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here and I believed in this.
She's saying yes. Okay. Yes.
And Brinkley, bigger dog, I just want to like squeeze it. I feel like bear hug is what I get. And Brinkley feels like either you weren't sure you wanted the dog, or this dog chose you in some form of fashion. So like you weren't expecting this type of dog or this situation, but I feel like this is just a love bug and I just want to hug it and give it all kinds of love and kisses. And I'm getting the face kisses as well. I'm assuming you maybe had to make some of those tough decisions regarding, having this dog pass on. And I'm getting the age, was Brinkley close to 13 or 14? So let me know about
Type that in for us.
To let us know about that, because I feel like this dog had a full life, or he's talking about having the full life. So Lula. I like that.
Lula Bell.
Is that a real name?
Cute. No, I don't know.
Okay.
That just came out.
All right. Good.
But that's awesome. He was 16, she said.
Who was 16? Oh,
Brinkley.
The Brinkley. Okay, yeah. So good for you. I have a dog that lived to 19, which is very rare. So 16 is big. So 13, 14, in my opinion, might have been where things were changing.
Lula Bell was her name.
Was her name?
Did I just channel?
You just channeled. Okay, love it. I'm really interested in the rock candy with Christine. She probably has no idea, but curious. So obviously Brinkley lived a full life, but I'm giving that bear. I don't know what kind of dog Brinkley is, but
well, hopefully she can share that.
I just want to like squeeze it.
Yeah. Okay, so on Facebook we have Jennifer Lynn, who wants to connect with her dad David.
Okay. All right. David's too young.
He was a Chinese crested, so it was a little dog.
Oh, Chinese. Why am I feeling in my face big?
That's like Piper.
Yeah, like, I'm just like, ooh.
We have a Yorkshire Terrier, and she's in your face.
Yeah. I kept getting kisses. Like this. Mm-hmm. So also, Cindy, let me know if there was another dog that you lost that would have been bigger that Brinkley was bringing through that was 13 or 14. So just in case there's two dogs coming through.
He had a big personality.
Okay. Said. Just in case. Okay, Jennifer. Okay, they don't carry anger on the other side. Just let you know that whenever there's stuff going on here, when they cross over, they'll bring that stuff through, but they're not holding it. I just feel like there's a lot of anger regarding David's passing or the things leading up to his death. And he just says, I'm okay. There's a lot of apologies. There's I'm so sorry. And I feel a little bit of negligence on David's behalf. So not that this has to be suicide, but maybe he didn't take care of himself, or there's just some stuff that he says was, the word I'm getting is neglected. Lots of love, he's telling me too. And I'm seeing a ring. When I see a ring on this finger, it means marriage, divorce, something about his jewelry or something about that energy. And again, this is that 30-second, that reading. He is saying, get out of your head. I am giving you signs. Quit trying to control the situation. Jennifer, you've got to let me know. So I feel like there was a power struggle, or just both of you had a lot of intense energy. And that doesn't have to be negative. It could just be you guys were very similar, or you didn't always see eye to eye, but David just like going, let it go. Just surrender to that. Mm-hmm. I'm curious.
Yeah. Share the info. Cindy said I had a dog named Tip that was 14. He was my late brother's dog, and he wouldn't let many people touch him, but he loved and trusted me. So that might be who came.
So you may be getting two coming through,
Cindy. So quick question from someone. Jennifer, who's a longtime follower, says her Nona is in the hospital right now and needs more help than they can give. And they want to send her home, but just want some insight
Yeah.
on that. And we have Connie waiting in the wings. She's got herself settled. So
Okay,
after
Connie.
this question, we'll bring Connie on real quick.
Sure. So Nona, this is something that does come up often or question asked. A couple ways to look at this. They would never tell you what to do. However, if you decide to put her in a facility that there's better care and more care than you guys can give, you're actually teaching your family that that's okay to do, because are you okay with individuals, family members making this choice for you? So you're setting an example that, yeah, this is really tough, this is really hard, but it's also for the betterment of the family and for her care. I have never, ever had anyone come through and say, why did you do that to me? Ever. They're always coming through saying, I'm so glad you did this. I know it was really difficult. It was a tough decision, but I've never had anyone being upset. So if that gives you some peace, and to think about it, you're not abandoning her. You're just giving a bigger supportive care. And why shouldn't we be able to do that with our loved ones? If you can afford it, her situation can afford it. I think it's beautiful to be able to do that, and it's helping that community do everything they know that's best. It's not a bad thing at all. So, and I think it's best to know that you're showing your children the same thing.
Mhm.
What do you want them to do?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to bring Connie on.
All right, Connie. And this is Sid, her husband?
Sid, her spouse, yeah.
Husband or spouse?
It's just said spouse.
I know.
So we never know. So we honor.
That's what they say.
Honor everyone here. Okay, so I'm going to add her.
Okay.
And bring her on. You're on live with.
Hi, Miss Connie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
There's some noise coming from the background.
Yeah,
Connie, are you on a phone?
I am.
Okay, there's a bunch of feedback noise. I don't know. You seem pretty still, but there's something going on.
sounds
like you're crunching.
Yeah, someone's crunching a bag of chips.
I don't know if we can do this.
So
live. Sometimes things like this.
Okay, Connie, was Sid a practical joker? Was Sid a practical joker?
Not so much. A little bit.
I gotta take you off the feed here, Connie, because there's too much noise coming through for everyone. Deb will do the reading.
I'm still getting. Did Connie, is your dad pass? She's off. Okay. Yeah, that was
a lot of feedback. I'm sorry about that, but
so Mercury's coming into retrograde. If you don't know what that is, Google Mercury going into retrograde. It's showing up. It causes electronic issues, communication issues. It kind of makes things a little bit tilted, off balance, wonky. So if you are seeing these type of things happening, don't feel like it's terrible.
So maybe type in, Connie, if you can, type in the comments validations as Deb does the reading, because she'll do the reading.
So I'm also getting a older male around Connie. So this would be father-in-law as well, probably both. And I'm getting a heavy smoker. So even though Connie is trying to connect with Sid, I don't think this is Sid. I think this is someone else coming through for him. Sid to me is, I feel definitely sick before he passed. There's a little bit of the curmudgeon where someone just gets, a little frustrated. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be the patient. I don't want to go through this. So he said that you had the patience of a saint, which is probably what the static was going on.
Yeah.
He says that you kept trying as much as possible to be there, but sometimes it was a challenge. And he's also telling me the choices that had to be made near the end, which is what they were asking around Nona. He's giving you that's okay, because I feel like he may have butt heads, because I'm getting him being a little bit stubborn regarding how it should have been done. And he's just laughing like, oh my goodness, I'm sorry there was so much drama. He says, I was like a 13-year-old girl in middle school. So that might not be his personality, but that's how I'm getting it, Connie. So I'm so sorry for this loss. They are okay. And I keep getting who's the smoker, who's the one that with all the smoke. So Connie, I feel like you're definitely that person that has that left brain at times. So just kind of remember that there's a lot more going on around you to
Validate.
to validate.
She said it makes sense.
Okay.
It all makes sense. Yes.
Good.
Awesome.
Good. Okay. Well, this was enjoyable once again. I always look forward to doing this live on 11/11 in Colorado, Rocky Mountain time. So please join us again next week on the live again. But we also want to mention that October 6th is our actual week to launch Grieving to Believing, and it's a show on YouTube where I am communicating to parents about their loss of their child and to bring peace to these families. And so far, it has been healing and heartbreaking at the same time. But as I always say, and I said earlier today, even though your loved ones are on the other side, they're always by your side. Thank you for joining us once again.